Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that is not about podcasts. It's the bonus show from the Podcast Discovery Show that's about all the other things we discovered throughout the week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach.
And we have a very special guest this week. And I recently discovered him through a podcast. I know we are not normally supposed to talk about podcasts, but I was listening to a TLDR episode, and they were talking about the man that had, at the time, over 14,000 songs on Spotify and songs about everything. I don't know if there was a song that he hasn't written yet. Obviously, there was, because he has now gotten a lot more. It is the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Farley. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
So when I first heard about you, I found it was the day before my son's birthday, and they were talking about how you have a song for almost every kid's name or every person's name. And I was like, my son's name's Mason. I bet you he's got one. So I made it my mission. And for the rest of my life, my children's lives, it will be that on their birthday, they will be played their song that has their name, their song that has their birthday, and their song that has their birth year. Because you have a song for every age all the way up to 98. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So from 1 to 98, do you have one for the age of 1?
Oh, yeah. I'm
That's
99%
great.
sure, yeah.
And so, yeah, I woke him up to those songs. And of course, he's like, Daddy, did you have someone write these songs for you? I'm like, yes, I did. No, I didn't tell him that. But
you have to at least pretend, right?
I said, I'm the best dad ever. And I just found all these amazing songs for you. And on that episode, they talked. You actually mentioned how you have your phone number on everything. And so I was like, there's no way he still answers his phone after having his phone number on all of his socials. And we gave you a call, and you answered.
Yeah, a lot. Maybe
has that ever gotten crazy?
Nah, it's great. I have great conversations with people all the time. And it's not that much. I don't know. I get 1 or 2 calls a day, and a lot of times people just hang up right away, but because they get nervous. But then I have some great conversations. Some people, like, we text back and forth regularly for years, and like I consider them friends.
That's awesome. Our chat says, this guy looks so cool. You look like James Bond.
Nice. Well, I'm not cool. The trick is I'm not cool. I'm just obsessed with creativity, and my entire goal in life was just to be able to write and record music as much as possible. And I realized at one point, I was like, I can't, if I have like a regular day job, 9 to 5, it's going to give me no time to work on music. I need to find a way to earn money from the music. So that's my job. And I figured out the trick is just to write so many songs that eventually, almost by accident, I'll earn a living because there's so many of them. I'm getting close to 21,000 songs now.
I was just about to ask how many you were getting close to.
And so this wasn't something that you ever set out to do. You just really liked creating, and it just kind of happened for you this way?
Yeah. In college, my friend Tom Scalzo and I at Providence College, we slowly developed a theory about songwriting. And the theory was never say no to any idea, because if you start doubting your ideas, then like the part of your brain that gives you ideas will be insulted, and it will stop giving you ideas. The idea center in your brain gives you an idea, and even if I think it's a bad idea, I'm like, all right, idea center, I'll do it. And I record the song, and then boom, a new idea comes. And it's like, they just keep coming if you are nice enough to follow through and write every stupid idea you could come up with. And I just write them fast. And the theory is like, I could write 10 awful songs in a row, but then like the 11th, almost by accident, could be great. And at that rate, I've got 2,000 masterpieces, and I do.
That is amazing, and it's a very interesting I guess mentality. But hey, it's the whole like throw it against the wall, see what sticks, and it's funny.
Yeah. So what happened was like we were in a semi-serious band called Moe's Haven through the early 2000s. We released 25 albums, and a lot of them were just serious, good, honest, straightforward songs. Nobody listened to those. But then on every album, we'd write the silly songs, like our favorite silly songs. We'd throw it on the album just as like, just to lighten the mood. And it was like, wow, around 2006, I was like, wow, this month, Tom, we earned $6. 2 people bought pickle sandwich. 2 people bought Shut Up Your Monkey, and 2 people bought Toilet Troubles. And a light went off in my head. I was like, wait a second. People are going to at the time it was iTunes was the only thing there was. And I was like, people are going to iTunes. They're typing in weird words like pickle and monkey and toilet. And there's not a lot of songs. Like ours is like the first one to come up when you type pickle sandwich, So I was like, I know what to do. I just got to write 20,000 of these. And luckily, like, I was already ready to do it because I'd spent all those years churning out songs. In 2006, Tom and I recorded an album a day, 30 minutes of music every single day for the whole year. So it was kind of like just this boot camp. And I didn't realize I was preparing to become the most prolific novelty songwriter on earth.
And it's not just the songs. You have a bunch of different band names that you release these songs under too, correct?
Yeah, I thought it would be confusing for people if they went to just one artist and they found 360 albums, and 20,000 songs. And so I have 80 different pseudonyms. So like there's the Best Birthday Song Band Ever, which is all those personalized birthday songs. The very nice, interesting Singer Man does like just funny like songs about household products or sports, etc. And then of course my the cash cow that is the Toilet Bowl Cleaners with the poop songs.
I love the poop songs.
That band is big. Even, no joke, the Billie Eilish has a video where she talks about one of my poop songs. It's the best.
What? Yeah. I didn't know this. Which song did she talk about?
So there's some Instagram video of her like at some thrift store, and she's like, I got this song in my head. It's like poop, 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 poop. And then she's like, yeah, it's by an artist called the Toilet Bowl Cleaners. I didn't even think it was real, but it's real. And so if you go to that song's YouTube page, every comment is like, I can't believe Billy listens to this song. And I'm like, yeah.
So it's the one that the only word in the song is poop?
I'm not sure. I think she was actually referring to one called Poop, 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 Poop Song, which actually has more lyrics. I don't know if have you found my Name Poop Song series yet? Like
the celebrities that poop songs?
No. Okay, ready for this?
Okay.
As you know, if I use a person's name in a song, much like the birthday songs, it's popular. And name songs are and poop songs are popular. And then I had this moment where I was like, what if we combine names with poop? And I've done 1,200 songs where the lyrics to every song are just Johnny, poop, 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 poop. Johnny, poop, 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 poop. And it's huge on TikTok. There are thousands of TikTok videos. We can't let them shut down TikTok because it's a huge discovery mechanism for me.
Have you sued Kanye West yet? Because I feel like you should.
Yeah,
for what,
I know.
his weird song he put out?
That scoopity poop whatever thing.
Yep.
Everyone was sending me messages. They're like, Kanye is stealing your act. No, I welcome him. On Twitter, I was like, Kanye, I welcome you to the world of poop music.
So
My favorite so far is "Poop into a Wormhole." That's it's just so catchy. It gets stuck in my head. It's a little bit of a worm. It's an earworm as well. it's
Poop,
it's
poop, poop into
poop into
a
a wormhole.
Poop, poop into a wormhole. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So those are the real popular ones
So
right
good.
now is the toilet bowl cleaners and the poop songs.
Yeah, and I mean, poop is so popular that I have two poop artists. I have the toilet bowl cleaners, and then competing with the toilet bowl cleaners is the odd man who sings about poop, puke, and pee. They're both me, just using different pseudonyms. And I like to imagine there's this like rivalry between them.
Have you ever created some of that rivalry? Like let it unfold on social media?
Well, I mean, if you look closely, you'll see that the Singing Animal Lover, another one of my acts, was upset when the odd man who sings about poop, puke, and pee was allowed to do the Animal Poop Songs album. And so the Singing Animal Lover left Motern Media, which is my label, and started his own label called Singing Animal Lover Music. And there's a whole album in which I pretending to be the Singing Animal Lover, am singing angry songs about Matt Farley and Motern Media because I feel that I've been wronged. It's completely insane, but I did it in a weekend and I just laughed like crazy.
That is great. That is funny.
So are you making songs daily? Just every single day you're writing new songs?
Yeah, I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and so I'm in charge of them 4 days a week when my wife is at work. But I mean, she gets home, and most nights I come down and churn out some songs. But then the 3 days that she's not working, those are the days when it's really, on Sunday I did 42 songs.
Wait, I was about to ask, what's the most songs you've ever written in a day? I can't believe it's more than 42. It still blows my mind.
Yeah, well, the most
How many do you
is
think?
When I'm just plugging in names, I can do 100 in a day. But there's new rules. I think it's because of me. Like Spotify and other rules, they have this rule called, I think it's called flooding. No flooding the system with songs where you're just changing the name. So for my name Poop Songs now, instead of just using the same music track and singing over it, I'm writing a brand new song, new melody, new chords for every single name Poop Song. So and then I have to mix it, then I have to master it, then move on to the next song. It's mind numbing and I just feel ill by the end of the night. But it's better than working a day job. This has been my full-time job for almost 4 years, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, that's incredible. I do have a question. Do you do commissions? Because I feel like the perfect way to end this episode would be a custom podcast discovery show song.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Yeah, on my website, there's
They're not
details.
free, Zach. They're not free.
No, I said commissions. That's implied.
Yeah, on my website is all the details, moternmedia.com. And I mean, I get 5-10 per week for people asking for songs. Songs for weddings, songs for birthdays. No joke, songs for funerals. I'm not joking. I've actually been commissioned to do songs about recently deceased people. And stuff like that. And a cool thing from a few years back is I was hired to write a bunch of jingles for a auto dealership in Minnesota. So I was all over the airwaves a few years ago, driving people crazy, singing, "We want you to buy happy at Maurice." They fired me because the whole state of Minnesota just rebelled. They were like, "We can't stand hearing this guy anymore."
Oh, that's amazing. So where else can people keep an eye on what you're up to? You have some social media handles?
Yeah, just Twitter at Motern Media. If you want to get it direct from me, my phone number is 603-644-0048. And on top of all this, I've co-written and produced and star in several movies. Look up Don't Let the River Beast Get You. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. It's a good old-fashioned monster movie.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I saw some of the things that you were credited with. But like you said, I don't know what's real and what's not on the IMDb. So what have you been credited with on the movie side? So there's that one.
Every few years, my friends and I just get together and we write. We spend a year writing a movie and then get together for on weekends and whatnot filming. And it's just like it's the kind of movie where like there's one I made called Slingshot Cops, and the concept was, imagine if you wrote a buddy cop movie like Lethal Weapon, and your uncle was the lead actor, and it was your uncle who's never acted before. How funny would it be just to make your wacky uncle be an action star, So that's Slingshot Cops. That's also on Prime. But yeah, I got a bunch of them available. And it's just it's just my whole approach to art. It's just like, just churn it out, just make it happen, have fun, and some stuff will stick, some won't. But in the meantime, we're having a good time.
It's a great way to live.
Well, man, I am so excited that we were able to discover you through another podcast and able to talk to you. I mean, it's awesome. And I do want to be able to keep in touch and, keep up with your work as you continue to make more and more songs every single day. That's amazing. How much time do you actually spend having in post-production? Because I mean, as a podcast, I know we have a little bit of time in post-production. The song's probably even worse time-wise.
I mean, in terms of like mixing and mastering, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm easy. Yeah, every once in a while, like my friends who play instruments and I, like maybe once a year, we'll spend a month working on an album. And those, because the other musicians are involved, I don't want them to get upset. So I'll actually pay a little attention to where each level is and spend time. But for most of these songs, whatever, it sounds good enough to me. Boom, boom, boom. The worst part is like the clerical work, because like I have to go to a website and I got to type the title of every song. I got to click on a box. I got to write down who the songwriter is. 20,000 times I've gone through this tedious process.
I was gonna say, for most people, that wouldn't sound like a big thing, but when you're writing 20,000 songs, that's more of it's more tedious than it is for most people.
Yeah, it's basically I don't just sit on the couch and watch TV. I sit on the couch with my laptop in front of me, just clicking buttons and writing names and typing names into boxes until like my brain is fried. It's not very glamorous, is what I'm saying. But again, I'm living the dream as far as I'm concerned.
That sounds like the best possible way to live it then. Yeah. So that's amazing. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about the journey. We'll definitely link everything in the show notes so everybody can check it out.
All right.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate your time.
Stay in touch.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Life is long and I might get caught, but it's also short and probably not. My only regrets are the fights I never fought, all the stuff that I've been taught I forgot, all except for one lesson that's keep them guessing. If they think you won't press, it's time for pressing. The only field that I want success in is the inability to give a false confession, cause I keep on yelling loud and I keep on feeling proud as authorities remove me from the crowd, telling me that I was doing.
So I discovered something pretty cool this week. First of all, it's just a website I found called Sustainable Brands. That's pretty cool. They have some interesting articles on here, but the one that I saw that was pretty interesting is an article called Pro Athletes, Coaches Team Up to Redefine Masculinity Through Good Men in Sport. So I feel like this was definitely like a big topic for a long time about like toxic masculinity. And I feel like it almost became like people were getting defensive about it, but I feel like it's just something that is, there's always that like you must be X to be being manly and things like that. And then that gets amplified by 1,000,000,000% when you're talking about professional athletes. And so then I read about this organization. It's literally called Good Men in Sport. And what they're doing is pretty cool thing. So I thought it was uplifting and a cool thing to kind of talk about. So they essentially have an organization that you can get involved as a professional or a collegiate athlete. And what they're trying to do is redefine kind of that masculinity, and especially in like the hyper masculine like sports world. So the CEO of this, sports are a great platform to inspire a different way of looking at things, taking a more balanced approach to masculinity. And it's not just about what happens on the court. It's about what you do off the court as well. The idea of aspirational masculinity helps men to be the best they can be wherever they are in life. So it's something where instead of worrying about toxic masculinity, they're just doing the right thing. You know, they're being the change they want to see. And so this is a very large thing at this point. Well, very large as in like it's established and there's athletes actually in it. So there was a couple doctors from the Men's Initiative, Dr. David Kuhl and Dr. Duncan Shields, and they essentially wanted to start working with veterans and male-dominated cultures and things like that. And all of these things kind of go along with what's happening with good men in sport. And there's just been some really interesting stuff on here. And there's one of the founders, Dr. John Izzo, and he's from the Men's Initiative, and it's something that I haven't looked into what that one is, but he's one of the founders of this too. And he said that it's been proven that shaming doesn't work when it comes to behavior change, because at our core, no one wants to be told what to do, especially men. But sharing stories of how we aspire to be better men and the hard choices that come with working to be better people, those are moments that can create a real moment. And so that's a really cool thing. And then it's one of those things where they've taken a good, wholesome look at this and have tried to create some positive change. And just there's a lot of cool quotes in this. So right now, men feel stuck in a man box, forced to act in a way society has told them to. It has told them to act, what to say and what not to say. Many men today are feeling just shut down. So it's important to help them break out of that box and learn to also embrace positive traits of masculinity, such as empathy. And there's been several people who've gotten involved in this, but there's some cool things that they do. So they have a lot of workshops where essentially they have people come out. They have players workshops. They have coaches workshops. They have content that they're putting out, including veterans of professional sports. And they also have kind of a weekly thing, or not necessarily weekly, but they're putting out reports of essentially kind of all the cool things that you can do there. And so it's really just a kind of a pretty cool initiative. But okay, so here's somebody, former defensive end from the San Francisco 49ers, Dennis Brown, said, "You're taught in football that the toughest, the craziest, the meanest are the ones that excel. That's what I envision with good men in sports, teaching men that you can be competitive, but in a positive way." So just trying to change that conversation. And I feel like then instead of getting into all of the things that toxicity, like all the toxic masculinity out there, you instead look at how it can be positively masculine. And so I just think it's a cool thing. And I read about it and I wanted to share it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like no matter what the thing is, whether it's, race, sexuality, gender, any of that, I feel like when there's a box, it makes things complicated and it makes you kind of feel like you have to be a certain way. And I don't know. Like I've always felt a little bit weird when it comes to my empathy, because it's always been a little bit crazy. I've always felt like, I cry at commercials and stuff like that. And then at the same time, it's like, there's things when it comes to me being half Mexican is like, well, I feel like I'm not Mexican enough, or too Mexican in this way, or I'm too white in this way and not Mexican enough in this way. It's just, it is weird to have all these different boxes that you're supposed to fit in. And we're Americans, it's a melting pot. A lot of us are not just, one thing. And so it's like, okay, well, what box am I supposed to fit in?
Yeah, I feel like how often is it that somebody truly fits into a box? That one thing can like define a person.
Like even the other day, John that works with us, who is Mexican, like me, he was saying how he doesn't eat spicy food, and I'm like, but you're Mexican, because my whole life when I told people I didn't eat spicy food, they'd be like, but you're Mexican. It's just one of those things. It's like, and he just busted out laughing. He's like, yeah, that's what everyone ever always says. I'm like, I know. Oh man. It's just one of those things. But it's awesome. It's awesome that they're just trying to break down these walls. They're invisible. I feel like it's a lot like these walls that we've built up around like borders and stuff. Like it's all invisible. It's man-made. It's not real. It's not a thing. It's just in our brains. We made it up. It's the same thing with all of these kind of things. You know, the people south of the border are no different than the people on the north side of the border. The people on the north side of the border from us are not different than us either. It's just, we're all people. People are people. I don't know.
No, and I feel like some of the conversation is changing there, you know, so that's the cool thing is some of these boxes are being broken every day, you know, so it's a good thing. It's a positive trend. And yeah, like we're seeing these things happen. So I feel like it's good to try and highlight them and to like, I also feel like it's one of those things, and we've talked about before, where essentially you only hear, everyone thinks that the world is worse now than it ever has been, but the world right now is better than it ever has been. We just have more awareness of every single bad thing that happens because every person has a cell phone, and you will literally see a video of the horrors of humanity. So it's cool to see some of the positive too, you know, and that's, we've said the Mr. Rogers quote a lot, where you look for the helpers. And I feel like it applies in a lot of cases. And it's nice sometimes when, we're all having to live through 2020 together. It's nice to look at some positive stuff happening on occasion.
No, I 100% agree. So I have a discovery to share with you that Josh, shared with us in Slack today. Or actually, no, it was a couple days ago. And I've looked into it, and it is fascinating. I just put the links in the live stream, so I want you guys to see the picture of what we're going to talk about, because it's crazy. It's about Alba. Alba was the name of a genetically modified glowing rabbit created as an artistic work by contemporary artist Eduardo Cac, produced in collaboration with French geneticist. I'm not going to say that name. I'm going to say it. Okay. I'm going to just Louis Marie Houdebine. That's Houdebine used the GPF gene from the jellyfish that fluorescent green when exposed to blue light. This is a protein used in many standard biological experiments involving phosphorescence. When Alba was exposed to such light, she would literally glow green, though photos by Cac showed the entire organism, including its hair, glowing a uniform green, have had their veracity challenged. Look at the pictures of this rabbit. This thing is like bright green. Granted, this is under a blue light. It's not just like all the time glowing like this.
It is so green. I'm sure that's why people were challenging it.
But it is crazy that they were able to make it glow at all. You know, like they took the genes from a glowing jellyfish, put them into a rabbit, and it glowed. That's nuts to me. I mean, how
agree.
long before somebody's going to try that for themselves? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, in theory, you could. In theory, you don't need a nightlight anymore. You are the nightlight. So the first question a lot of people ask is like, well, what happened to the rabbit? Like, what was the lifespan of the rabbit? Was it healthy and all this other stuff? Well, the rabbit has since passed away, but it lived. Here's the quote. I was informed one day that Bunny was dead without any reason, so rabbits die often. It was about 4 years old, which is a normal lifespan in our facilities, according to the place that had the rabbit. I don't know what a normal rabbit lifespan is.
According to them, around 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's weird. But
there's not a crazy lot to it, except for that there's a glowing rabbit that was made as an artistic expression by this guy. And yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. I have another one that I can throw in here. Have you heard of the pizza effect?
The pizza effect. I don't think so.
So this is, and I'll just read you the beginning of this. In religious studies and sociology, the pizza effect is the phenomenon of elements of a nation or people's culture being transformed or at least more fully embraced elsewhere than re-imported to their culture of origin. So what this means, and okay, I'll read you this quote too because it explains why it got the thing. So it was coined by an Austrian-born Hindu monk and professor of anthropology at Syracuse. Oh, I can't even.
You got to do it.
Hananda Barati in 1970. The original pizza was a simple, hot-baked bread without any trimmings, the staple of Calabrian and Sicilian contadini. I shouldn't have tried to read this part. Whom well over 90% of all Italo-Americans descend. After World War I, a highly elaborated dish, the U.S. pizza of many sizes, flavors, and hues, made its way back to Italy with visiting kinsfolk from America. The term and object have acquired a new meaning and a new status, as well as many new tastes in the land of its origin, not only in the South, but throughout the length and width of Italy. So, pizza used to be more bland, came to America, changed, became popular, went back to Italy, and it impacted the original the original.
Hey, you're not wrong.
No, the original dish. So and this is not something that's like isolated. So there's some more things that people apply to this. And once again, this is something that how popular things are, some of these things it's hard to really gauge, but these are some of the examples they have. Popularity of postural yoga in India. So it got popular here. Yogis became popular, and it became popular in India as well. There was one analyst that even thinks that Islamic terrorism, specifically suicide bombing, can be seen as an example because it was at one point very isolated and extreme, and then it kind of got re-exported afterwards because it kind of was associated to the religion. The Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City. So the Day of the Dead has been celebrated for a long time, but because of a James Bond film called Spectre, there is now a more emphasized parade for Day of the Dead. Buddhist modernism. Okay, here's a good one. According to scholar Kim Knott, Mahatma Gandhi was not very interested in religion until he went to London to study law, where he studied the Bhagavad Gita in English and in Sir Edwin Arnold's translation, and this deeply influenced his spiritual outlook.
So I actually just listened to a podcast that talked about Gandhi, and they had quotes and actual audio of him. He's known for like peaceful protests and like wanting all, peace and no war and stuff like that. Well, during World War II, he was literally doing propaganda for the British to get Indian people to go to the war. Like he was saying that Indian people were being not brave and not being Indian like they should be and not fighting, which was crazy because but it was before he kind of got his epiphany. That's not the word.
Epiphany.
Epiphany. He's got epiphany. Before his epiphany, and he became much more of a pacifist. But it was very fascinating because I had no clue. And I actually want to learn a lot more about Gandhi. I don't know very much about him, but he seems like a very fascinating guy. I don't know very much about him.
Okay, so speaking of both Britain and India, chicken tikka masala, a dish created in Britain based on Indian cooking, but then became popular in India. So that is British food that got imported. Salsa music. The first salsa bands were mainly Puerto Ricans who moved to New York in the 30s. The creation of jack-o'-lanterns from turnips or rutabaga was a Halloween custom in Ireland and parts of Great Britain. Irish immigrants brought this tradition with them to the United States and adapted it to use the native pumpkins instead of turnips. In time, pumpkins came to be used instead of turnips to create jack-o'-lanterns in Ireland and Great Britain. So I just thought this was a cool thing to see how sometimes things get popular elsewhere, but popular enough that it impacts the origins.
That is very fascinating. Is there a name for that theory again? Did you say it?
The pizza effect.
The pizza effect.
No, there's like
a scientific name.
There's more like scholarly. There's reinculturation, self-orientization. This one's I should have just stuck with pizza effect. This is why it's called the pizza effect. Hermeneutical feedback loop.
That's the right way to say it. Hermeneutics. It's an interesting thing to study.
So yeah, basically it was just a cool thing to see how sometimes things get really popular.
All right. Well, that was an amazing episode, guys. We had so many discoveries and they were really cool. And we had a really cool special guest.
So thanks so much for listening this week. We really appreciate it. We are on Twitch. We just hit affiliate and we're pumped about it. So we're gonna keep at it. We're on all of the live streams will be on YouTube after a day or so. They will be available there. We have a Facebook group called the Podcast Discovery Club. We'd love for you to join. We have a Twitter. We have our podcast available on most possible options. If you Google search us and the podcast catcher of your dreams, you will probably find our link there. So we hope that you get in touch any way you can. We hope that you join the live streams. We've had a great time doing this. It's really fun to be able to talk to people while we're recording the episodes. And in the end, just thanks so much for supporting the show. It really means a lot.
It really does. We love you guys. Bye.
See you next week.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.